The storm began as a whisper on the sensors, an elegant curl of plasma on the horizon, harmless at first. But by the time Commander Lyra Cade stepped onto the command platform, the sky had turned to liquid fire. Virelia's surface was chaos incarnate. Winds tore up molten soil. Static discharges split the air into screaming light. The colony's domes shimmered beneath the bombardment, their shields flickering, each pulse weaker than the last. Inside the command center, the air felt too still, like everyone was holding their breath. The holoscreen rippled with static as Admiral Vra'nak Soren's imposing form appeared, tall, crystalline, eyes like twin shards of glass. His voice carried no emotion. "Commander Cade, all rescue operations are hereby terminated. The Galactic Accord forbids further losses." Lyra stood firm, gloved hands clasped behind her back. "With respect, Admiral, we still have 200 trapped in Sector 12. The evacuation routes are blocked, but we can—" "No," Vrax interrupted. "The plasma surge has reached containment level 9. Any further entry is suicide. The Accord cannot authorize the loss of additional personnel." The room fell silent. Only the deep hum of emergency generators filled the void. Lyra's second-in-command, Lieutenant Josrin, leaned closer. "He's right, Commander. The shield flux readings, no one survives out there." Lyra didn't answer immediately. She looked through the viewport at the red haze boiling beyond the colony dome. "They said the same thing on Emer 3, she murmured. "And we pulled out 43 survivors." Ren's jaw tightened. "And lost 12. Lyra's expression hardened. 12 who knew the risks. The Admiral's hologram flickered, irritation creeping into his tone. "You humans misunderstand discipline for courage. The Accord's strength lies in logic, not martyrdom." Lyra met his cold stare. "With respect, Admiral, logic won't dig children out of the rubble." The hologram vanished without another word. The crew exhaled as if released from a spell. Lyra turned to her team. "Status of the Phoenix dropship?" Ren hesitated. "Systems offline. Plasma interference cooked half the NAV core. Can you bypass it?" He blinked. "Bypass? Commander, that means manual control. We'd be flying blind in a lightning storm." "Exactly." The room erupted with protest. A Valkyrie engineer, Sten, lifted his tendrilled arms in disbelief. "Humans are not resistant to ion burns. You cannot survive unshielded flight through that chaos." Lyra's tone stayed calm. "Then we won't rely on shields. We'll rely on reflex." Sten's eyes glowed in outrage. "You gamble with death." Lyra met his gaze. "No. We gamble so others don't have to." She turned toward the console and keyed in commands. The storm map unfolded before them, rings of electromagnetic fury closing around the colony like a predator's jaws. The central sectors were already gone. The remaining survivors were trapped beneath a failing dome where the life support grid had collapsed. Lyra's mind raced through possibilities. She had faced worse odds before, but not like this. The plasma storm wasn't natural, it was erratic, pulsing like something alive. Ren's voice broke her focus. "If we go, we lose comms after the first kilometer. No guidance, no rescue if the ship fails." Lyra nodded. "Then we don't fail." He studied her for a moment. "You still carrying your brother's dog tags?" She froze. The faint clink of metal under her collar suddenly felt heavier. "Always," she said quietly. Ren sighed, understanding more from that word than she'd spoken. "Then I guess I'll prep the Phoenix." As the team moved, the command room's tension thickened. Sten muttered alien prayers under his breath while human techs strapped on exosuits, their faces pale under the emergency lights. The colony trembled as thunder rolled overhead. Minutes later, the landing bay doors opened to a scene from hell. Plasma fire danced across the clouds, casting the ground in molten orange. The air shimmered with static. The Phoenix waited on the pad, its hull already pitted with scorch marks from stray discharges. Lyra approached it like a soldier greeting an old friend. The craft had saved her life twice before. Maybe it would a third time. Ren was already in the pilot's seat, running final diagnostic. Navigation's shot. You'll have to guide us with proximity sensors. Wouldn't be the first time. She strapped herself in beside him, glancing at the crew behind. 4 humans, 2 aliens, all volunteers. Fear glinted in their eyes, but none backed down. Last chance to withdraw, she said, her voice steady. No one moved. Ren grinned. We've seen your driving, Commander. Death might be preferable. A few chuckles broke the tension. Good, Lyra said. Then let's bring them home. The engines roared to life, vibrating through the hull. The storm outside surged in response, lightning arcing across the sky like veins of fire. As the ship lifted off, the colony shrank beneath them, swallowed by darkness. Inside the cockpit, every display flickered with interference. Warnings screamed across the board. Plasma density off the charts. Ren shouted. Shields at 30%. Make that 20. Hold course, Lyra ordered. Sector 12, 40 degrees north. The ship jolted violently, throwing sparks from the ceiling. Stabilizers failing. Compensate manually. Ren swore under his breath, wrestling the controls. Outside, the storm stretched endlessly, a churning ocean of fire and ash. The Phoenix sliced through it like a desperate heartbeat. For a moment, silence fell. The only sound was the hiss of static over their comms. Then a faint transmission cut through, distorted but unmistakable. Help us, dome collapsing, air running out. Lyra's eyes locked on the signal. They're alive. Ren grimaced. Barely. And right under a plasma funnel the size of a city. Then we aim for the center. He glanced at her, half incredulous, half resigned. You realize we won't make it back if the funnel shifts? Lyra didn't blink. Then we shift faster. The storm grew brighter, angrier. Static crawled across the cockpit glass. The ship shook as if the planet itself was trying to tear it apart. Ren gritted his teeth. Hull's overheating. We've got 90 seconds before we're vapor. Lyra's gaze fixed on the horizon, a swirl of molten clouds forming a massive eye of lightning. There, she said softly. That's our door. She keyed the comm one last time, broadcasting to the command center. This is Commander Lyra Cade of the Terran Colonial Corps. We're going in. If we fail, remember it wasn't fragility that killed us. It was courage that kept us moving. No reply came. Only static. The Phoenix dove into the storm. Lightning tore across the sky, swallowing them whole. And for one breathless moment, humanity vanished into fire. The world dissolved into light. The Phoenix plunged through the plasma currents like a wounded hawk. Lightning slammed into its hull, peeling away outer plates. Inside, alarms howled. The cockpit filled with smoke and the metallic sting of burnt circuitry. Commander Lyra Cade gripped the harness, muscles locked against the violent shaking. Shields gone. Ren shouted over the noise. Hull temperatures redlining. Cut auxiliary power, Lyra ordered. Feed it to the stabilizers. Ren's fingers flew across the console. That'll drain life support. Then hold your breath, she said. The ship steadied for a heartbeat before another surge tossed it sideways. Sparks cascaded across the cabin. Sten, the Valkyrie engineer, clutched his harness, translucent skin flickering with fear. No vessel can endure this. We will disintegrate. Lyra glanced back. Then pray we disintegrate after the rescue. A flash of light ripped across the viewport, a plasma arc the size of a mountain. Ren swerved hard, the Phoenix rolling under it with a gut-wrenching lurch. Gravity failed for half a second, sending every loose tool and harness clip spinning through the air. Sector 12's beacon is still active. Lyra shouted. 900 meters below. Ren wiped soot from his forehead. You want to land in that? Not land. Crash carefully. The craft dove. The storm's heart roared around them, luminous rivers of molten air twisting in every direction. Static crawled over Lyra's visor as she activated her exosuit. "Prepare for ground impact," she yelled. The Phoenix hit like a hammer. The deck tilted, throwing everyone forward. The restraints snapped tight, bruising ribs but saving lives. Metal shrieked as the ship dug into the scorched ground and slid to a smoking halt. Silence followed, only the crackle of residual energy outside. "Sound off!" Lyra barked. Ren coughed. "Alive." "Barely." Sten raised a trembling limb. "I remain functional." "Good. We move." Lyra released her harness, standing on unsteady legs. Sten grabbed the medkit. "Ren, get the power cutters." We breached the dome manually. She hit the ramp release. The outer hatch screamed open, revealing a sky that boiled with fire. The heat was suffocating even through reinforced suits. Ash swirled like burning snow. They stepped into the storm. Visibility was almost zero. The ground pulsed underfoot, veins of molten rock shifting like liquid glass. Lyra led the way, suit sensors mapping faint outlines of the collapsed dome ahead. "Life signs detected." Sten called, his scanner flickering. "Faint, diminishing." "Then hurry." They reached what was left of the structure, a shattered sphere half buried in glowing debris. Cries echoed from within. Ren stared. "There's no entrance left." "Then we make one." Lyra hefted the plasma cutter, its beam hissing as it sliced through fused alloy. The heat shimmered so intensely that her visor dimmed automatically. A small alien child's face appeared through a crack, eyes wide, terrified. Lyra crouched, shouting through the noise. "Stay back. We're coming in." The wall gave way. Hot air and smoke poured out. Inside, dozens huddled together, humans and aliens alike, breathing shallowly, skin blistered from radiation. Lyra motioned to her crew. "Distribute respirators. Prioritize children and the wounded." Sten moved among the survivors, his glowing tendrils steady now as he treated burns with synthesized gel. A human medic followed, checking vitals, whispering reassurances no one could hear over the storm. Ren knelt beside a collapsed figure. "Commander, she's still alive but barely." Lyra crouched. The woman's breathing was ragged. "We're getting you out," she said, though she wasn't sure she could. The structure groaned, the storm pressing harder. Plasma currents licked across the dome's outer edges, threatening collapse. Ren looked up. "Commander, we can't stay. Hull sensors show a surge inbound, magnitude 10. Lyra stood. "Then we move now. 2 at a time." Sten, load the weakest first. The Valkyrie hesitated. "Your ship is crippled. It cannot lift again." "Then we'll drag them if we have to." They carried the first survivors through the storm, shielding them with their own bodies. Lightning struck nearby, blasting molten shards into the air. A fragment hit Ren's arm, melting through part of his armor. He hissed in pain but kept moving. "Almost there." Lyra shouted, guiding them back to the Phoenix. Inside, the ship was half-functional, lights flickering. They secured the wounded in the rear hold. Ren slumped into the pilot's seat, blood seeping through his suit's seal. 15 rescued, he muttered. Dozens left. Lyra checked the readings. The dome was failing faster than expected. "We'll make 2 more runs." Ren glared at her. "The ship's falling apart. We go back in, we die." Lyra's voice was quiet but firm. "Then we die doing what we came to do." He looked at her for a long moment, then turned away, jaw tight. "You really are impossible." "Human," she corrected. They launched again. The Phoenix bucked immediately, stabilizers failing, alarms wailing. The sky had turned white-hot, lightning branching across every horizon. Lyra's heart pounded. The storm felt aware now, its pulses timed like a heartbeat, its fury focused on them. Ren gritted his teeth. "You feel that?" "Yeah," she said. "It's not random." As they approached the dome again, Sten gasped. "Commander, the energy field, it's artificial. Not weather, machinery." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "You're saying someone built this? Or lost control of it?" The implication hit her like a blow. The colony wasn't being destroyed by nature, it was being torn apart by a malfunctioning atmospheric stabilizer, the size of a city, buried beneath them. "Where's the core?" she asked. "Deep under Sector 12, Sten said. "But access is impossible in these conditions." Lyra stared into the storm, realizing what it meant. "Unless someone goes in manually." Ren groaned. "You can't be serious. That's suicide." "It's survival," she said. "If we shut it down, we stop the storm. Everyone lives." He slammed a fist against the console. "And who shuts it down when you're vaporized?" She gave him a faint smile. "You will." "Not funny." "I wasn't joking." The second landing was chaos. The dome's remains were collapsing, fire raining from above. Lyra and her team fought through rubble, dragging more survivors out. Her exosuit cracked under the heat, alarms blaring in her ear. One of the survivors, a Valkyrie scientist, clutched her arm. "You came back twice?" Lyra nodded. "We don't leave people behind." The scientist's voice trembled. "Your species, you endure pain that would break us." Lyra didn't answer. She didn't need to. They made it back to the Phoenix with 20 more survivors. The ship groaned under the weight, one engine sputtering. Ren's voice cracked. "Hull integrity at 6%. Commander, she won't hold." Lyra secured the last stretcher, then looked toward the raging horizon. The storm's core pulsed brighter now, like a living sun, furious and wounded. She exhaled slowly. "Then we'll end it." Ren stared. "End what?" "The storm." Outside, lightning clawed at the sky. Inside, Lyra Cade began planning her next move, one that would either save a world or erase her name forever. The Phoenix trembled as if sensing the weight of her decision. And in orbit far above, Admiral Vrax watched the chaos unfold, whispering coldly, "So this is humanity's bravery, to die proving a point." He didn't yet realize that point would change everything. The plasma storm had turned the sky into a burning ocean. Every bolt that struck the surface shook the ground like a god's heartbeat. The colony's last dome had collapsed, yet within the chaos, one ship still fought to rise. The Phoenix, scarred and flickering, its engines whining in protest. Commander Lyra Cade stood at the viewport, visor darkened against the glare. Her reflection stared back, a soot-streaked face, eyes hollow but alive. Behind her, Ren worked feverishly on the console, rerouting power to the thrusters. He didn't look up when he spoke. "You're really going through with it?" "Yes." "The core's beneath molten terrain. Even if you reach it, radiation will cook you in minutes." "I only need one," she said softly. Ren slammed his fist on the panel. "You're not doing this alone." Lyra turned, voice firm. "You're needed here. These people," she gestured toward the med bay, where survivors lay motionless, "won't make it without you." He shook his head. "You won't make it with me either." Their eyes locked, a silent argument older than words. The ship trembled again, cutting it short. Sten appeared in the doorway, his translucent skin pulsing with anxiety. "Commander, I finished scanning the storm's heart. The AI core is still active. Its containment drives are misaligned. It's not malicious, it's trapped in a feedback loop." Lyra grabbed her gear pack. "Then we free it." Sten tilted his head. "Your physiology cannot survive those conditions." She managed a faint smile. "Humans were never built to survive half the things we've done." Ren's voice cracked, quieter now. "Lyra, don't turn this into another ghost to carry." She paused by the hatch. "If I come back, you can tell me that again." And then she was gone. Outside, the storm roared like a living thing. Each step sank into molten dust that glowed under her boot. The exosuit's temperature alarms screamed in her ear, but she pressed on. Ahead, the storm's vortex spiraled into a column of fire that touched the sky, the heart of the malfunctioning machine that was tearing the world apart. She descended into the crater, guided by Sten's voice over the comms. You're close, Commander. Radiation rising rapidly. The core is below the ridge. I can see its energy spikes. Understood. Lightning struck nearby, throwing her off balance. She slid down the slope, landing hard against blackened metal. Her gloved hand brushed across it, smooth alloy too perfect for nature. The buried tower of the weather AI loomed before her, cracked open like a wounded organ bleeding light. She crawled through the fissure. Inside, the air shimmered with ionized gas. The temperature was unbearable. Her suit's cooling system overloaded, condensation freezing inside her helmet, then boiling away again. She reached the control interface, a pillar of humming light. Streams of alien code flickered in the air like whispers. The AI's voice, distorted and broken, echoed through her comms. Error system loop. Containment breach protocol override failed. Lyra touched the console. It's okay, she whispered, though she knew it couldn't hear emotion. You're not the enemy. Just lost. She began rerouting the system manually, fingers trembling. Her suit warned of critical radiation levels. Core instability at 97%, Sten reported. You must hurry. Working on it. Her screen blinked red. Authorization required. Of course. She wasn't coded for Valkyrie systems. She stared at the warning, mind racing. Then she remembered, during earlier operations, she'd interfaced her neural implant with alien tech. Risky, but it might bypass security. She removed a glove, pressed her bare palm to the console. Sparks jumped through her veins, the world spinning as alien code flooded her neural link. Pain flared, but she stayed connected. Come on, she gasped. Talk to me. Human signature detected, the AI replied faintly. You are fragile. Lyra almost laughed. You have no idea. She felt her consciousness blur with the machine's data stream. The storm's pulse mirrored her heartbeat. She saw flashes. The colony above, terrified faces, Ren's bloodied hands at the controls, Sten shouting into static. Override containment, she ordered. Redirect plasma flow to ground conduits. Command confirmed, the AI whispered. Stability restoration in progress. Warning, manual link will terminate operator. Her grip tightened. Do it. The core flared. Energy cascaded through her like lightning through glass. The storm screamed, a dying animal fighting extinction. Lyra's suit cracked, light spilling through the seams. Every nerve felt aflame. Ren's voice cut through the chaos. Lyra, get out of there. She barely heard him. The storm's glow dimmed, colors collapsing inward as the feedback loop broke. The plasma clouds began to dissolve, their violent dance slowing into calm spirals of light. She collapsed beside the console, the ground cooling beneath her. The storm was ending. But her suit alarms wailed. Oxygen failing, radiation fatal. She could barely move. Ren's voice again, desperate. Lyra, do you copy? She managed a whisper. It's done. Tell them, it wasn't the storm that broke. It was fear. Silence. Then, through the haze, a shape approached, Ren, staggering through the smoke, suit half melted. He dropped beside her, pulling off his cracked helmet. You weren't supposed to do it alone, he rasped. She tried to smile. You never listened to orders anyway. He laughed, though it sounded like a sob. Come on, Commander. Let's go home. Her breathing slowed. Look up, she whispered. Above them, the clouds parted for the first time in weeks. A sunrise broke through, golden, calm, impossibly beautiful. Ren looked back down, tears streaking his ash-covered face. You did it. We did, she murmured. Her voice faded as the light spread across the horizon. Hours later, the Phoenix rose shakily into the calm sky, carrying the rescued colonists. Ren sat at the controls, silent. Sten stood beside him, recording data from the pacified atmosphere. She sacrificed herself, Sten said quietly, to correct a system none of us could. Ren nodded. That's what we do. We fix what's broken, even if it kills us. In orbit, Admiral Vrax watched the live feed in disbelief. The storm had vanished, the colony saved. His adjutant whispered, "Human interference caused it and ended it." Vra'nak said nothing for a long moment. Finally, he turned to the council display. "Record this event under the Varelian principle," he said. "From this day forward, human intervention shall be recognized as an act of exceptional courage, not defiance." He ended the transmission, his reflection caught in the dark glass. "Fragile," he muttered. "And yet indestructible." Weeks later, a memorial was built on Varelia, a scorched stone engraved with simple words. She walked into the storm so others could see the sun. Ren placed Lyra's dog tags atop it, the metal warm under the new dawn. The wind that passed through the valley carried no fire, only the quiet rhythm of life returning. He looked up at the brightening sky and whispered, "They said humans were too fragile. They were right, we break, we bleed, but somehow, we keep standing." And above the world she saved, the clouds parted wider, as if the storm itself remembered her name.